Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Lone Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Dio, what's poppin'?
UCF football, last game of the season, John.
Nobody cares about UCF football.
Nobody cares unless you wear the black and gold. Unless you know something about Canaveral Blue.
Ooh.
Unless you have ever drank a Citronaut because you're sitting in the Carl black and gold section.
Nobody wants to sit in those fucking bleachers, Dustin.
Nobody wants to sit in the black and gold section at noon on a Saturday because it's hot AF.
It was better when it was Bright House Network Stadium.
No, it's not.
I know.
I'm totally cool with it being FBC Mortgage Stadium. Those are my boys. It's funny. My son's like, hey, Dad, you're in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
And, it's FBC. What do you think?
Yeah.
I go, actually, I like those guys.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they do a very good job.
Beef.
They run a good company.
No beef.
Yeah, shout out, literally, the whole crew over there, starting with Rob and Joe.
Wow.
Right, yeah.
You got names and shit?
Yes. I mean, you and then you get into Veritech and Jay and the whole crew. They do a really good job.
Don't throw names around Dustin.
Anyhow.
He's clouded.
Hey, name dropped. Boop, boop. Mic dropped.
But we can't afford that. No,
Not yet.
Not yet.
John, this is pretty exciting. I'm going to tease the audience.
What's that?
We're coming up on episode 400.
I thought.
You know what we're also coming up on?
Me taking a shower since the first time since Saturday.
That's gross. Absolutely gross.
You bathe twice a day?
Yes, I will bathe twice a day, depending on if I work out twice a day.
Weather's cold down here in Florida. I don't sweat a lot in my sleep. I'll go Sunday to Wednesday night.
That's why you have such beautiful skin then.
Thank you.
That is why you have such beautiful
Real
skin.
talk, I shaved my head for the first time. Didn't know I was used a foil razor, and now I have a bunch of bumps on the back of my head.
That's gross.
Schmeagle.
That is
gross. But you shave your head. Tell me what I'm supposed to do.
I don't get bumps.
I know you don't, but the first time you shaved your head in 1991.
Hot water. Edge, gel.
You use a razor?
Yeah, I put shampoo, shaving cream over my head.
Yeah.
And then I get out my Mach 3 and we go to town.
You against the grain or with? Depends.
I go back, I'm combing my hair, the same strokes. If I had hair, I just take it off, John.
God bless your heart.
Yeah, just take it off just like that. But no, what I was going to tell the people was a hint at. You wouldn't let me. Yeah. Talking about your shower. No, this is one of the last episodes we're going to shoot in this location.
Thank God.
You say thank God. I'm going to miss having some of the downtown skyline.
Oh, yeah, the ambulances going by and the fire trucks.
I'm not going to miss that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to miss the ambulances or the fire trucks. But, how about this? Shout out to Dr. Christie. Bro.
Shout out,
that episode.
Scratch and sniff stickers all day.
Yes, mine still works, by the way. And then shout out to Michelle Mendez with ArchMI.
Right.
She's going to be our next guest.
Right.
Bro, we are going to go all into ChatGPT and OpenAI.
Something I know nothing about and refuse to learn, but thank God we have her.
Thank God we have her. But here's what I'm going to love about her episode is she's going to make everyone who tunes in want to utilize the technology. Yes, it's not going to be all in depth. Here's how you do open heart surgery. It's no. Here's basically how to do CPR, right? We can teach everyone how to do CPR. Mm-hmm. We can't teach everyone how to conduct open heart surgery.
Right.
She's going to teach everyone how to utilize this technology to be your personal assistant, to be your director of marketing, maybe your director of finance, and how it's a matter of clicking a couple buttons, learning the right prompts, and letting the magic happen.
Right.
But it is a collective effort. So anyhow, she's going to be coming up. We're bookending Dr. Christie with Michelle, us in the middle.
Wow.
As we prepare to close out the year, we're going to hit close to episode 400 and one of our last episodes
400 episodes,
this particular, because John's going to build us out an entire studio.
I think so.
That's what he's going to be doing over the holiday break. I don't know what y'all are doing. Some of y'all are going to be snowboarding. Some of y'all are going to be stuck with your drunk Uncle Ed or hanging out with your in-laws. Not John. He's going to be preparing to build us out a studio. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. What do you want to talk about today, John?
I don't know. We literally just came up with the idea of 15 seconds before I hit the red light to hit record.
Yeah, I mean, you said whatever you do, Dio, you cannot pimp out T-Lop Online
No,
anymore.
I didn't say that.
You did. You said, Dustin, you pimped that out too
That
much.
was
I said, John.
off the air. That was off the air.
And I'm going to tell y'all, look, there are loan officers out there who are not achieving their full success.
They're absolutely lost.
They are lost. They are scared, and nothing changes if nothing changes. I don't care if it's us. I don't care if it's someone else. But at some point, you got to make changes in your business.
Right.
Surround yourself with experts who know what they're doing. Let them invest in you. Let them teach you how to prospect, teach you how to lead generate, teach you how to be less of a mess as a business operator, right? And make a small investment in yourself. By the time y'all tune into this, prices do go up January 1st.
Yep.
Like, do it. And again, whether it's us or someone else, you got to do it. Attend the conferences, join the communities, get yourself some coaching, get your learn on. So yes, John.
And then realize how stale everyone else is besides us, and then come on back to daddy.
Exactly. Hey, you
I
said
it, not me,
you
right?
said
yeah,
it,
right.
not me. But hey, I appreciate our T-Lop faculty. We crushed it with the 5 days
awesome,
of giving.
Hey.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, faculty. Thank you, faculty
like
members.
when John Coleman walks into my office with a compliment,
That's
happens
rarely.
Rarely.
Yeah,
He's
rarely.
like, bro, you guys knocked it out of the
You
park.
guys awesome.
With 5 days of giving in the faculty. So we did. You're going to see and hear more of them going into next year. No different than those that joined us for business planning.
Right.
Hopefully y'all were like, damn, that was good. Yeah, that's the shit that we're into. That's the type of value that we bring to this community. And if you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Watch out.
on January 11th, on a Thursday,
show up.
yeah, come hang out. Let us invest in you. And that's a free event because of our sponsors. So yeah, we got good shit. I'm excited about what 2024 is going to bring.
Yeah.
I really am. But you know what I want to do? And this keeps on coming up in our business planning. It came up in our 5 days of giving with our faculty.
Mm-hmm.
It came up when we did the thing with UCF.
Mm-hmm.
People always want to know the bad stuff.
Where did you fuck up?
Yeah, basically. And I'm like, everywhere.
Yes.
The first thing I would tell anybody about being successful based on my experiences, and I'm not uber successful, but I've been fortunate enough to be more successful than many.
Correct.
And I simply answer it this way. Besides, I have a crazy amount of drive, and you can't teach that.
Mm-mm.
I'll talk about how that's one of my mistakes I've made. But you can't teach drive. You can't make someone want it. So yes, I've had that. And according to my parents, I've basically had that my whole life. Not always, because I didn't always want it when my dad was signing me up for pitching lessons. Sorry, Coach Mack. Right? One day, Coach Mack called my dad aside and said, hey, I think you're wasting your money.
The saxophone player back.
Yeah, I was like 13 years old. No, I didn't want to drive a half hour across town. I was missing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I didn't care about being any better of a pitcher than I already was, right? So I haven't always had it in every aspect. Trust me, talk to my mom, talk to my school teacher, look at my grades. I didn't always have that type of drive, but it was in me. I was selective on where I used it. So looking at the mistakes that I've made throughout all of time, I tell people in business, I maybe have been able to achieve what I've achieved because I've made more mistakes than you. It was a race to see who could make the most mistakes. I made the most mistakes because I tried the hardest. I made the most mistakes because I didn't sit back and wait. I just did, and I knew I'd figure it out. So because of those mistakes, I've been able to learn from them, make a vow not to repeat them, and keep moving forward, right? That's Sunira when she was on, right? The unicorn in heels, we'll call her. She literally talks about you don't go A to Z, you go A to B, B to C, C to D. And I didn't know that. I wasn't that articulate, but that's exactly what I did. So we're going to do a whole entire episode just based on mistakes Dio has made throughout his career.
Love it.
Yeah. Where do you want to start, though?
I want to
in particular, because I can just shotgun it. We can go rapid fire, or you can
I
want to
start when you said something like, when did you know, at what age? Was there like a particular incident or catalyst, like in second grade, Mrs. whatever class, that you knew, like, all right, I have this itch, this chip on my shoulder to where I know I need to be, like, different and better than people. In a good, like, a hard-working sense. Because you said you had this chip on your shoulder since birth. Was there an instance in, like, second grade where it's like, all right, I knew when this happened to me, that's when it really set me off on this course of, like, greatness.
That's a deep question. We're going there, huh?
I thought you wanted to ask
so,
me
like,
anything.
if you were my psychologist and you
as
got
I
to
am.
know
Yes.
my upbringing,
Pro bono.
here's what you and I would discover together was some, like, Imongo therapy, I believe it's called.
Okay.
Look that one up. I can't spell it for you. Sorry.
I've never heard of that.
But you would find, I grew up in a household with two amazing parents who still today embody what it means to be just devoted to each other and in love. Okay. 50 plus years of marriage. It's like, wow. My father, you gained his attention. And for me, what I felt like his love by working hard, right? Like we were told we don't do half-ass work. That was a term that we used openly. Father also made sure he told me every night he loved me, gave me a hug and a kiss goodnight, right? Like I had that.
Okay.
I had stability through the roof. Like
Right.
one house my whole life, 3 schools my whole life. Like take away the fact that I'm male and white, I'm privileged beyond that. I'm privileged because I had 2 parents who were like my parents, and I lived in one house and I had 3 schools.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't a whole lot of instability. I had the exact opposite. But my father, I gained his love by working really hard. Show him that you tried hard, right? You had him. So cool. I learned early on I could out-effort you. And I had to, especially in sports, because I wasn't naturally gifted at sports. I was given a couple of like really cool tools, like my right arm is a rocket thrower, right? So I could always throw shit really hard and really far.
Where's it goes? Anybody
know? I didn't get it all. I'm
right.
not the next Otani, okay?
Right.
So, but I just knew when my dad was on the field, he was coaching me. I couldn't let him down. So I had to hustle and try. And then I started getting accolades. Well, you win me over by showing me attention. Like all of a sudden, you look my way, you give me a compliment. Right? I always joke, just tell me I look pretty and I'll do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
But literally it works that way. Now, when I look at my mom, without even trying, like she always talked about like people, like she always made sure my sister and I were dressed really nice.
Mm-hmm.
She grew up in a household where that wasn't, and she felt like she was made fun of and picked on as a child. So when she had a chance to be a parent, she made sure we might not have the most money, take the most lavish vacations or hell, any vacations. She made sure my sister and I always had nice clothes.
Okay.
Because she didn't have it. That mattered to her.
Right.
So if you look at me today,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it makes sense.
Why am I always dressed the way that I'm dressed?
Shout out Tom James.
Yeah, shout out Tom. Not today. Today's probably like
Apollo's
actually,
good.
yeah.
Michelle dressed you.
Yeah, no. She bought it. My mom bought it probably. But anyhow, my mom loved how things looked.
Right.
Right. If you were the prettiest at something, right? If you were recognized, like that recognition.
Mm-hmm.
So, early on, if I were to be a psychologist, yeah, I earned my dad's love and favor by working really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I earned my mom's by being recognized for being great.
Yeah.
Recognized could be how I dressed, how I looked, or it could have been how I performed.
Correct.
Right? So that was,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make her happy, wanted to make him happy, and I'm a people pleaser. Like, I'm the first to throw hands, but I hate fighting. Right? If you want to get into a verbal altercation with you, I'm going to go for the throat. It's going to be nasty. It's going to scar. I'm going to feel terrible for it. I'd rather not get there, right? So I've always been that person who wants to be a peacekeeper. I want to be a people pleaser. So to answer your question, maybe that's where it comes from.
Good.
That's not really a mistake.
No,
though.
it's not. I asked a question so people can you set the foundation for what you're about to say about all the mess ups and drop the ball at the fucking goal line that you're about to tell us. So.
Oh well, yeah, we're not going to get into the fact that I'm such a moron that I one time in high school went mailbox bashing at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday.
I've done that before.
And got caught.
Never get caught.
And got caught. Yeah, who goes mailbox bashing at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday?
How do you get caught, though?
2 p.m. on a Wednesday,
Yeah,
not 2
but
a.m.
I know. How do you get caught, though? Slow. You can't outrun the cops? What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, we're not.
What are you doing?
We may have grown up in a lower middle class area, but we still had our standards of
whoop, whoop, out. What? Fuck, in my pants, gone. Where's the J's left behind? Oh my god.
But
I can talk my way out of anything.
So but anyhow, we're not going there. This is more like business lessons.
Right? Yeah, sure.
Like I want to jump into like business lessons. So the number one business lesson I learned, I moved from Atlanta, Georgia to West Palm Beach, Florida for a job that I didn't know a whole lot about, and I got nothing in writing. Literally, I got nothing. I took the dude's word that I was going to come down there. I was going to be given a base account list. That base account list was going to earn me X amount of dollars in commission. And then the rest of it, I had to go out and eat what I killed.
Sign me up.
I took that job, WFLX, down in West Palm Beach. And after I performed really well for a rookie new business sales associate, and that they reward you with like giving you accounts. After I was granted a couple accounts that I had earned, they still didn't bill, but half of what I accepted the job for. Learned a valuable lesson. In life, get that shit in writing.
In writing.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of trust and a certain amount of goodwill and faith you have to take into decisions. Like, you can't be analysis by paralysis, but by all means, at 23 years of age, 24 years of age, I moved from Atlanta, Georgia to West Palm Beach, Florida for a job. By the way, because I wasn't willing to sit back and wait for the market to get better. The job market was pretty soft. It was post 9/11, and I was trying to climb the corporate ladder, and I was in a hurry to go somewhere fast. And anyhow, I took that job. Hell, I didn't even know where West Palm was. I thought it was close to Tampa.
I thought it was Miami.
You thought,
It's
well,
like an hour and a half.
hey, it's at least on the right coast if you're going to Miami.
Right.
But because it said west, this is how ignorant I was of Florida geography. I thought west was the west coast of Florida. I knew Tampa was on the west. So West Palm Beach must have been close to Tampa.
Sarasota.
That is Sarasota. I literally
yeah.
had West Palm in Sarasota.
Good for you.
In my mind. It wasn't until I landed in the airport and I realized I was closer to Fort Lauderdale than I was to Tampa that I realized I was still on the east coast of Florida.
Shout out MapQuest.
Yeah, by the way, shout out to MapQuest.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's how I got around. Okay, so that was, if we're going to chronological order, probably one of the first business lessons that I learned the hard way. Second business lesson, I didn't learn it the hard way. I learned the right way, but I can share it with the audience, which was make sure I had the decision maker in the room when I'm selling. I learned that selling TV advertising. I would get appointments or meetings with the marketing director.
Scrubs.
And my sales manager who would go on calls with you. And he was one of the best salespeople I've ever been around. He's what they call a closer. Right? Like we need that at T-Lop Online. I need a closer. I need somebody when we set up.
Let me transfer you to my closer.
Yes, we need a closer. Somebody who's going to get the order. Okay, he was a closer. But I learned quickly I couldn't schedule appointments with marketing directors because he would tell them, is that the owner? Nope. Okay. Is that the CEO? Nope. Okay, so they take directions from owners and CEOs.
Right.
He said, rarely does a marketing director have the authority to make the visionary decisions. They can implement the decision of the owner, of the CEO, of the visionary, but they don't get to make them. So he wouldn't go on that. So that wasn't so much a mistake. That was just something you learn along the way. That's part of it, as Coach Kayla Sharp calls it. That's learning as you grow. I love saying that, Coach Gwen, Coach Brian, Coach Trav. Yeah.
Because you're the head coach, and now you have
Coach Christie.
Yeah. Coach Dustin.
Yeah. Now I'm
and
like
John.
I'm like the school marm.
With John.
With John.
Yeah, it's just with John.
With John.
What is the biggest mistake? I'll articulate it as a rookie loan originator in your first year. What was the biggest mistake you made as a rookie LO?
Ooh, a rookie LO.
Your first, as you can look back, 2020 hindsight, and then you look back like, damn, I really flubbed that, whether it be a relationship, a transaction, a mentality, a thought process.
I was too afraid to work my circle of influence. Looking back, man, my wife and I had just gotten married, a year and a half before I became an LO, 2 years before I became an LO, something like that. I mean, she became pregnant with our first when I was in training. Okay, so we were married maybe a year and a half, 2 years before she got pregnant with Jackson. And I look back, we had over 200 people come to our wedding. Open bar, DJ, like it was a party among parties. Like what was really cool, we set the tone. Like we set the tone because we were the first to get married on both sides of her family. And she comes from a family where there's 20 cousins on one side and there's 9 cousins on the other. Nonetheless, I did not leverage those contacts to introduce me to real estate agents, financial advisors, and home builders.
Why do people do that? Because you feel like you're doing a disservice? You want to annoy your friends? Like, why? Because so many loan officers and sales professionals have that trepidation about them.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it imposter syndrome? I don't know what it is, right? But we just are. And I think it's like, well, I don't want to bother them. And you realize you're not bothering them. Like, you're asking them for help. And if they truly are in your circle, like they want to give you a leg up. Like, you're not asking them to even lend you $100. Or $1,000 or co-sign for a car. You're literally saying, hey, look, this is my new career. I'm super excited. My job is to network with other business professionals, preferably people who sell homes or build homes for a living, or financial advisors. Who are you connected with, Aunt Donna, that I could reach out to, maybe drop your name, or in today's day and age, you can text and link us together. I'd love that opportunity to get to know them because I think I can service them and their clients. That's it. Now, if you're really good, then you can say, by the way, I am in real estate. And when you think of anyone looking to buy real estate, sell real estate, or my specialty is going to be financing, let my team and I hook you up. There's a little script. Let my team and I, and then hook you up. People love getting hooked up. But hooked up, taken care of, giving great service. Everyone gives great service, but who do you hook up? Hey, I'll hook you up. Anytime, and you have to tell them, anytime you think real estate, buying or selling, or even a mortgage, a home loan, call me. I'll hook you up.
Was there a piece of advice that you received in your earlier years that maybe you ignored or brushed off, that now that you're a more, well-seasoned professional, that like, damn, if I had listened to that individual my third month in industry, I would have accelerated my
coaching clients, our coaching clients, John, because we have a coaching program. Our coaching clients are going to be like, oh my God, Dio must have like set JC.
No,
for that one.
I'm just literally.
Yes, the guy's name is Rob Mitchum. Shout out to Rob. He's not in the mortgage business, but he's still around. Rob Mitchum said, Dio, the best 4-letter word in sales.
Go next. No, I'm just kidding. NEXT.
Yeah, next. Yeah, you've heard me say it.
Right.
Yeah, it's next. Rob Mitchum taught me that. I didn't learn it for another 2 years. I listened, but I didn't hear it. Like I wasn't fully comprehending. It's next, right? It's understanding that some will, some won't. Who cares? Move on. It's understanding that there's enough people willing to do business the way that I do business. I don't need to do business with people who don't. And I can help people, but I can help people who can help themselves. I can't help people who can't help themselves. Meaning I'll meet you in the middle, but the middle doesn't have to be like smack dab in the middle. Like if we're thinking of a football field and we're starting on the end zone, you may make it to the 35 and I'll walk clear across the 50 and get to your 35, meaning I'll meet you, but I can't walk clear across the whole entire football field to come serve you. So that was something that I wish I learned early on, right? Nice. It's just understand that word next. Yeah. What else you got for me?
Shit, I'll keep it going. So once you found a little bit of success, right? You closed some loans. You might have been a top producer. What's the one thing that you might have flubbed up once you started getting the accolades and the money that you said desired?
I was a total douchebag for most of my 30s. Looking back at 45 years of age, I craved making money, right? Like starting early in life, I wanted to make money. My parents can tell stories. Like I would tell my mom, I don't need to learn how to fix that engine because I'm gonna make enough money that I can pay someone to fix my engine. Oh yeah. I don't need to learn how to rewire my electrical box.
I'll pay them.
I will be paying somebody. Like literally. Like now, by the way, I still do things like I do my own lawn. Right? My wife paints our house. Now we pay someone to paint the outside, but like small jobs like bathrooms and whatnot, no, those are still things that we do. I tend to wash my own car when I wash it, although occasionally I'll treat myself to a full detail. Right. So there's a certain part that I'm not willing to give up. I hung a ceiling fan last year, reclaimed my man card.
Oh my gosh, you did?
For like 5, like it's like one of those that doesn't expire for 5 years now, so I don't have to hang any more ceiling fans.
If it doesn't come pre-assembled from Amazon, I'm not buying the shit.
Yes. No, because I lived a lot of my 20s. I didn't have any money. Like you had to do that stuff yourself, right? Like I laid sod in my own yard. I put my own fence up. Like went and rented the auger so we could do it. I'm not opposed to it, but that was always a goal of mine. So you asked me, like looking back, and I think it was something about money, and it was more of how I prioritized money, or better yet, I felt like because I made a bunch of money, I must be important. I made a bunch of money, I must be special. No. I'm important and special in the mortgage industry because I was able to achieve a certain level of success that others hadn't. That was in units and volume. That was in families helped. The money was definitely by all means a reward, but I wasn't better than that school teacher because of the money I made. I didn't work any harder than that cop because of the money that I made. And I don't think I fully grasped that because I went all through my teens and my 20s aspiring to make money. By the time I got in my 30s and I was making money, I felt like, man, I made it. And then you get to a point to where at some point, and this is true, you do realize that it's not about the money. Easier said than done. Just like following Rob's advice about the best 4-letter word in sales is next. Easier said than done. Once you are making the money and hopefully you're saving it and you're accumulating it and you're setting up things like endowments at your favorite university, go Knights. Right.
No, but speak on that, Dustin, because you, as someone who, you said, blue collar, hard work ethic, once you got that money, like, and you were able to save it and you did have 6 months reserve, what was, What's that learning lesson like? Because you basically achieved all the things that, you set out as a younger adult. You have savings, you have this. So what's the lesson once you have that? Like, how do you, all right, I beat the game on hard.
It'll never be enough. Right? That's what I'm realizing now. It'll never be enough. You said it to me. My best friend, Chris Mosley up in Atlanta, said it to me. Like it'll never be enough. It's the game. I'm in love with the game. I'm not in love with the money. I'm in love with the game. I love building businesses. I love investing in people. Like, that's what I love doing. But the money is a reward. Look, I run races. Okay. I don't run races for the medal, but I fucking love those medals. I mean, I don't do it for the medal. But I promise you this, when I cross that finish line, I'm not throwing that thing in the trash.
Right.
I'm not telling them not to put it around my neck.
Right.
And I may even wear it out for drinks and dinner that night, depending on the race.
Yeah.
So it is a weird way to be wired, but it isn't about the money. There's way more to life than the money. But for many of us, we have to start with the money because that's tangible.
Right.
And then if you get there, you may go through an era of being a douchebag. That's okay as long as you come out the other side a little bit better of a human than what you are.
How do you motivate individuals that don't necessarily might be great people, but don't share your same vision, but you want them on your team and you need, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you carry people? Like, if you're a leader, how do you motivate other individuals that look up to you that might not have that same innate drive, but the potential is there?
15 years into this, John, and wholeheartedly speaking, this is where I still fail. Like, if I feel like there's a shortcoming, there's a chink in my armor, where's my Achilles heel? That's the hardest thing to do. It is where you talk about mistakes that you've made to our leaders, to my branch managers, my area managers, my fellow executives, regardless of industry.
Right.
It's realizing that we are who we are, and who we are has worked for us, but it's also put us in a position where we may be at the top of the heap stack and we are taking the most reign, but there's only room for so many people at the top. And you can't manage or expect everybody to even want to get to the top. Most people are totally cool at the level they're at and maybe one level above. So it's recognizing that. And then here's the hardest part, being okay with it. Well, it's hard to be okay with something when that's not you, right? Like, let's think about music. I love rap music. I love country music. Both are fairly polarizing.
Shout out Nelly with a Sweatsuit album back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
You remember that? You don't remember Sweatsuit with Garth Brooks?
It was with Tim McGraw.
Yeah,
and he played it for you in concert.
Yeah, I remember. I know.
Okay.
I remember that.
But I like, so my example would be if I try to listen to rap music with my wife in the car, she's like, turn that shit off. This is disgusting. It's hurting my ears. And I just don't get her.
Ride with me. I smoke a bowl. Turn that shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's no different than like if I'm trying to rock out to some like 90s or 80s country and you're in the car, you may be like, I can do some country to but
nah, you're doing too
not too much.
Shout out Jelly Roll.
It's not even country, by the way. He's not even country.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's not country?
I mean, he's a version of country. Wow. He's a version of country. Sure, country's whatever you want to be.
Good for you, Dustin. We digress.
But anyhow, what was the question, John? I talked about music.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah. So as a leader,
right,
finding a way to lead your people so they can become the best versions of them, so that they can bring the most value that they can bring to the company, and it really starts getting to know them as humans. Like, do you understand them on a human element? Do you know what's going on in their world? Do you know what's important to them? Do you know what they prioritize?
Of course not. They're just a number on an Excel sheet, Dustin. How dare you think I should get to know my employees or subordinates?
You should to a certain level.
Right.
Right? Like, I don't need to know if you are a morning or evening bowel movement, right? But I think I should know if, you're dealing with an ailing parent, so I can recognize how that's going to impact your mindset, right, your motivation. Maybe as life events change, maybe your motivation changes, both positive and negative, right? So I think you have to a certain extent, get to know them on a human element while keeping it still very professional. I think there's a certain part of managing those people to be the best versions of them that they want to be at that time based on that season of life. And just because they didn't want it last year doesn't mean they won't want it next year or vice versa. Just because they were all about getting after it 2 years ago, something may have changed in their life that they're not all about getting after it. And not everyone is wired the way you are. That's why you're the visionary. That's why you're the CEO or the team leader or the area manager or the branch manager. It's your job to pull as much of their greatness out without it becoming your greatness. If that makes any sense. And I struggle with that. Like real life, my wife and I were in the car driving somewhere together. And maybe we were coming back from our trip up to Blairsville, Georgia. And something came up about teachers. And, like I love to teach. I love to coach. I joke about this, but it's the truth. Had teaching high school given me the ability to make $1 million a year, I probably would have done it. Or if I went and won like the huge Powerball, not like the little lottery, because $3 million is a lot of money, but ain't a lot of money. Right. But like, $100 million, I would want to fill my time and I would potentially go to a local high school where I would teach and coach. And anyhow, I made a comment that like, yeah, if I was a teacher, I want to be the best. That's how I'm wired. That's how I'm geared. That's my mindset only goes right there. And it took my wife, who was a school teacher, who's great at what she does, who scored high SATs and never got to be in school. And like, she is like the most polished, I-dotted, T-crossed, organized, polite, Miss Manners person you could ever be. Like girl next door, truly. Mm-hmm. And she was like, but Dustin, not everyone wants to be the best teacher. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, what's wrong with just being a great teacher? What's wrong with like just impacting your students in a positive manner? I'm like, oh no. If I was a teacher, I would have to be the teacher that every student wanted, that every parent would be, going to administration trying to get their kid in my class. And I damn sure better be recognized at least once a decade for being teacher of the year. Mm-hmm. Like that's, and I have to realize not everyone is that way. And that could be, by the way, a psychosis that I need to go maybe work through with counseling. That might not be healthy for me to be wired that way. So as a leader, I need to understand that. No different than, I remember a good friend of mine, a buddy of mine I grew up with, and I thought it was amazing that his son was graduating high school and was going into the trades because we don't have enough tradesmen. Because my dad's a tradesman. Because I do loans for a living, and I see that tradesmen and women are making $90 grand a year, and school teachers with their master's degree are making $52 grand a year.
Double that.
Yeah, taking work home, being stressed out. Right, my cop buddies. Right, they're getting flack from their community because they're cops, and I guess because like a handful of cops are dicks. I guess all cops are dicks. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, you subject yourself to this for that type of pay. I have to realize it's not all about pay. That's, again, me taking a step back and recognize it's not all about pay. But it was also a way for me to recognize that it wasn't necessarily about having to be like the best at something. And I'm just wired that I'm like, I got to be the best. So that would be.
Great answer, Dustin. Okay, I have another great question for you. What's the instance that you've learned, how to articulate this, what have you learned the most from the least producing LO? Like, have you ever learned something from someone that produced so little that you were able to like gain like a lesson from them when it comes to management?
Two things. Do a better job of assessing talent up front and fire quicker. Yeah, that's what I've learned. I've learned, because I like people in general, I then project my own drive onto them, and I look for every reason why it could work. Whereas if I just got to know them better in the interview and I looked for their patterns of success, if they didn't have patterns of success, I probably should have never hired them. If they weren't willing to run through a brick wall, because we're talking about salespeople. We're talking about people who are 100% commission. Yep. These are people who, for the most part, are self-employed. Yeah, if they weren't willing to run through a brick wall to prove someone right, or prove someone wrong, prove a doubter wrong, probably not a good fit.
What have you learned from some of the top producers, people that we always talk about, well, mostly you, emulate, people that do run through a brick wall, people who don't, they sell to people whether they buy or die or whatever. What have you learned from those top producers that you would like to implore on our audience today?
That they're no different than you or I. That they're no different than anyone tuning in. That they are, yes, they may be better looking. They may be a little bit funnier. They may have a gift of gab.
Wow, keep talking about me, Dustin. I love it.
True. But no, at the end of the day, what they're willing to do is they're willing to dominate the basics. They're willing to wake up every day and take orders and follow instruction, and they do follow patterns, right? And they just do it consistently. They don't let anything else get in the way. They recognize that they have certain achievements that they're trying to accomplish. And if they just do X, Y, and Z and they trust the process, that they'll get there. Some will get there quicker. Some will take more time. That's where some talent comes into play. But ultimately, you will get there, or some will achieve a level of in volume to use mortgage or real estate. Let's just say some people are skilled enough and talented enough to be able to grow a team that does 300 units a year. Some people get stopped at 100. Both are top producers. At that point, you are, if you're talking income, you're in the top 1%. It's just, are you in the top 1% or are you in the top 0.01%?
Are you talking about basis points, or are we talking like just fractions here? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, let's put a bow on this because I'm going to ask you a good question, Dustin. You always ask our guests this. If Dustin today, right now, went back to Dustin of 2000 and you were interviewing me, like, I want to start a podcast, and you wanted to build this thing, what's one lesson you would tell the younger Dustin 4 years ago that you've learned in this 4-year journey in building the Loan Officer podcast?
Oh, and the podcast.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because you built businesses, you know, you have a couple of different investments, angel invest, blah, blah, blah. But what is one thing you, Dustin, today, wearing the TLOP hat, we have TLOP faculty, it's a beautiful sunset here, closing out the year, what is one thing you, Dustin, today would go back to you, Dustin, back in the day when you were wearing like double XL fucking suits and shit? What would you say, like, hey, this is what's going to happen? What would you tell yourself?
I would lean into the word intentionality, and I would say whatever you do, do it with intentionality. We've always been intentional, but it was behind the scenes. It was the undercurrent. We didn't come out of the gates. We didn't know what we were going to do. We knew we had some ideas. We knew it was broad AF. It was like, you know, 8-lane highway broad, and we have it down to the express lanes right now.
Correct.
Right? It's like being on that I-75 cutting through Atlanta. You can pay the extra money to do 90 miles an hour in that toll lane.
Yeah.
Like we're that now intentional. So I wish, and you and I hid behind it being our hobby. We hid behind it, being a passion project, which it was. But maybe there's a little bit of a fear of failure.
Correct.
And a fear of like being an imposter.
Well, you can hide behind that.
If it's slow played.
If it's just a hobby, you can't be like, oh, I wasn't really trying that hard because it's like, I wasn't taking it serious. But yeah, to your point, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like being back in middle school and you asked that girl to be your girlfriend.
I was just joking. I don't want you anyway, you frumpy hoe. No,
you kind of left that out. Knowing what I know now, I think we would have gone out, but you never know. Like, I'm a big fan in general. Everything happens for a reason. You talk about the universe, but I talk about everything happens for a reason. It's our job to keep our minds open, our eyes open, our ears open. We need to be very aware of what's going on, and we need to look for opportunities. We need to look for the lessons that are being taught. Definitely don't want to put our head in the sand. We don't want to kick that cone down the road, as they like to say. Like, we want to address everything that's in front of us. So I don't know if I would be at a way where I'd even be willing to call anything that we've done on the podcast wise a mistake. Because I don't know if I could have sped up the timeline, because I do believe everything happens for a reason. But you asked the question, and I'll throw it out there. Let me give a bonus to everyone. Mm-hmm. If I even tried to list every business venture or every investment or every idea that I have swung at and missed, that would be an entire episode. Okay, like, I'm going back as far as being 18 or 19 years old, staying up till 2 a.m. watching an infomercial.
Hey, buy this product, you'll sell.
And buy it. Yeah. And then we bought the 900 number, and the 900 number was going to give you tips on how to use the internet.
You did that shit.
Yeah, I wish the tip was like, hey, here's how you build a YouTube channel in the year 2001. Or here's what Amazon's going to do, or here's what SEO means, and here's why to build a website. No, this was a 800 number, and then I was trying to buy email addresses and then spam people to call the 800 number to get internet tips.
Jesus.
So that's my first one, going back at age 19.
Yeah, right.
Okay, then I can go through and talk about some kind of investment I made. It ended up being a Ponzi scheme, and I got like 3 of my $5,000 back, but I let someone convince me to give $5,000 to be a part of this, system. It's kind of like multi-level marketing.
Yeah, it's called buy these knives and go into these people's homes.
It's not Cutco.
I'm scarred for life.
By the way, go sell Cutco for a year,
and you will become the best salesperson on the fucking planet.
And be successful. and I'll hire you.
Shout out Daniel Anderson.
Shout out Daniel Anderson and Aaron Luden, but I will hire you. Like almost
Right.
sight unseen.
Yeah.
I can't do sight unseen because what if you're an asshole and we don't hire assholes?
Right.
But I will definitely hire you.
Right.
So like there's that one that comes to mind. Look, I talk about, I had Sunera on and we talked about her company, Fat Merchant, becoming a unicorn, and I was able to invest in that as an angel. Then again during their Series A round, and then when they became Stacks, they brought in another big investor that cleared the cap table, and Daddy got paid.
Let's go.
Talk about that, but we talk about the $25,000 that I lost in Air Health.
No, nobody wants to hear that shit. I just
Nobody
want to hear
wants to
about
hear
all the
about that.
successes,
Yeah.
bro. The ticker. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, there's those opportunities, plus the opportunities that I didn't invest in, or the businesses I didn't start that, hey, I finally started one. Right? Like I finally invested in a homeowner's insurance
God,
and
right?
a
What the
property
hell were
casualty
you waiting
agency.
for? Jesus.
Why didn't I do that 10 years ago? If I did that 10 years ago,
Shit, we wouldn't be on this podcast because you'd be on your yacht in Fiji.
not
damn it.
quite, John. But,
right.
But I could have an extra $400,000 or $600,000 into my net worth had I just done that, right? So like, there's all of those learning opportunities, and I think what I want the audience to take from that is you gotta be willing to take risks. You gotta be with, as long as you can get comfortable with the worst case scenario, right? Like that Ponzi scheme, I was fine with the worst case scenario. Me being 19 years old and losing $2,000, dude, $2,000 at 19 may sound like a lot of money, but $2,000 between the ages of 20 and 80,
Bro, if you don't make it
That's
up, something's
nothing.
wall with you.
yeah, it's nothing. So like I was
Right.
willing to take those big swings. And when you listen to most successful entrepreneurs, most of them were. Even like right now, I'm all dialed into Alex Hormozy.
Mm-hmm.
His signature story is one in which he thought he made it. He had all the revenue, he had the company, and lost it all, and put all the money he didn't have, all $30,000 on a credit card. He bucked up and put it out there and said, I know what I'm doing. I know how to turn this $30,000 into $150,000. Watch this. And believed in it. And he realized at the time, he was probably in his 20s still, even if he lost all $30,000, he can make that right back up. Literally. He could have valeted cars for a year and a half while working for the man. And he would have earned enough money working for the man to support his lifestyle, made enough money valeting cars that he paid back the $30,000 that he put on the credit card. Like, and I think too many times people are too afraid of the wrong things, right? Like you and I talked about that earlier off camera. How many people are like, I don't want to go do that because it doesn't come with benefits. I'm like, do you know how much benefits cost?
Yeah, me, I'll raise my hand. Yeah,
Like, yeah, like have you even looked to see what it would cost for you to get a private plan?
no.
Because it's like, you're not going to jump at a career opportunity that could potentially, A, fulfill you, B, challenge you in a good way, and C, allow you to make the most money that you ever thought you could make because you were worried about $800 a month in benefits. You're worried about having no 401k match. I'm like, how much you put in your 401k? People are like $10,000. I'm like, cool. That match is $5,000.
Yeah.
So $800 in benefits times 12, okay, is roughly $9,600 plus the $5,000 in 401k matches. We're talking about a less than $15,000 decision. And certain people in our country are not willing to bet on themselves, are not willing to go out as an independent contractor or to become self-employed or 100% commission because they're letting that hold them down. That's corporate welfare. Now, for some people, you're not geared to work for yourself.
100%.
You're not
Please,
meant to.
please do not enter
You
the
are
yeah,
not meant
do
to.
not
But
enter.
for some of you who
Right,
are,
right.
yeah, you're letting corporate welfare tie you down, keep you stuck to the tit of the man. And it's like, I luckily have never had that because of my risk aversion and my high drive. But it's something that others may have, and at least maybe I can help you think through it. And I think it's remiss. We didn't bring those up because I'm not ashamed of those mistakes, right? That the Ponzi scheme, the 900 number, the investment into Air Health, and I could go on of things that didn't work out because I'm going to keep swinging, baby. I'm going to keep swinging. I'm going to keep betting on myself, and I'm going to consistently stay a learner. That's something that didn't come up. Always be learning and be curious. Keep that childlike curiosity.
You changed someone's life in this episode, Dustin. I'm so proud to be able to
I hope
produce.
so.
I'm serious. That was good, man. I love this unscripted bullshit where I just take a couple shots of tequila and ask you questions.
Well, no, thank you for doing that. Here's something else that we do, John. Look, we don't put this out there, and I don't have all the time in the world, but as we grow out this community, y'all, if you need a little career advice, you want a unbiased point of view, my opinion, You might not like it, but at least I have one. I'm willing to share it with you.
Facts.
Y'all can go to TLOP online, and we have I think it's under Career Corner.
Community message board.
No, not the community message board.
Oh, we have so mumuch stuff now. I can't remember.
No, it's a way for them to say, hey, look, will you help me give me some direction on my career? Right. I think it's under like the Career Corner. Right. We give employers an opportunity to reach out to us if they have needs they're trying to fill, and maybe we can work our community to try to fill their needs. But if you're a part of our community and you want just a one-on-one conversation, a private conversation with me, use that. That's why it's there. I have helped people stay at their employer because that was the right move. I've helped people stay at their employer,
move on,
but get a better compensation. I've helped people find new employment, right? Like, I mean, I have friends. Literally, I have friends. We had Jeff Zemfer on.
Shout out Jeff Lee.
Right. So someone reached out to us. They were in Las Vegas. Jeff's a friend of the show. Jeff too's in Las Vegas. I didn't have a solution for this particular T-Lopper, but I knew Jeff probably did because Jeff lives in the market. At a minimum, I can put this person in contact with Jeff. Jeff then can help this person solve for what it was that they're trying to solve for.
Don't make the biggest mistake of your life and not reach out, because this whole episode was about making mistakes. So don't make the mistakes that we said don't make.
Well, and look, and I want to reach out if you're serious, because it is something that we're doing pro bono. It is something that we do to give back. And it's not something that I'm looking to make money doing.
Don't waste this goddamn time.
But it's also something that I do have limited resources, right? So you can do it online, or you can just go to my LinkedIn, first name Dustin, last name Owen. Send me a quick message. I love to hear from y'all, by the way. Send me a quick message. Let's connect. And if you would like to spend 5 or 10 minutes kind of walking through where you are in your career and where you're trying to go, I don't mind giving you my thoughts based on my 20 plus years experience.
Dustin is all earballs, but that's all the time we have for you today. His name is Dustin Owen. My name is John. Don't Google me, but we look forward to catching you on the next episode.
Hey, tune in to Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Make sure you give us a 5-star review, and you share this with not 1, not 2, but 3.
5,000 strangers.
5,000 strangers. We appreciate you. Happy New Year. We look forward to catching you on the next episode with Michelle Mendez from RGMI. Peace.